Basically, these chairs take it up. It's a little hard headed for a tree those are so fortunate. I'm staying here with the dogs. And what's going on? Anyway, they have family tragedy.
Okay, so it's live right now.
You guys are here. They left her with us. Thanks.
All right, you guys are live. I'll let that do its thing. Okay. And just remember that it is partial.
Sorry, what'd you say, Debbie?
Evidently, it's, if you're not talking into the mic, it's really hard to hear.
So kind of fun.
So.
Yeah, there's.
Yeah, getting to see a grandchild.
Trust me, I know.
Talking about. Right, you're gonna text.
I will text you when we adjourn, right? Okay, thank you.
You'll get two. Two jackets. This is.
They think so. Oh, Rosemary, then Rosemary, who are y'all missing?
Oh, that's right, once, but they resigned.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
So,
we're all here.
In that case, call ourselves to order. Okay. Do I call the roll?
I think you do. Do we move to bring the session into order? Or is that, are we following this decorum?
I'll do that.
Before we do, it's sometimes very difficult to hear on the video.
Oh, okay.
So if we
Okay.
could lean in
Good,
and
thank you.
speak
That's
up,
a good
and
update.
it's especially difficult to hear Matt over there. And I just don't know if it's because where a speaker is or what. And also, it's also difficult to hear when somebody's talking and somebody starts talking over them. So,
Okay,
yeah,
thank you. That's good
yeah,
feedback.
thank you.
Okay, Matt, are you here? Can you hear us?
I am here, and yes, I can hear you perfectly.
He just sent an
I'm
email.
here and he
He-
can hear us
yeah.
perfectly. We can't. hear
I
him.
can hear him on the computer speaker.
Okay, we can barely hear you.
Okay, so we just need to get the sound bar on, right?
Okay, Jake is going to the
To
rescue.
what?
I don't know about the rest.
Get the IT guy.
All right. Keep talking, Matt.
Well, once you hit the power button, I thought I'd chime in.
Okay. Did anyone
That-
hear him better now?
It's better,
A
definitely
little
better.
Is it better? And then there's
Yes.
a volume button there. I don't know what number I'm on.
Well, I've got the volume button on the keyboard. The soundboard is.
No, there should be a remote that says sound bar.
I mean, does this thing work? Because I've got it right by the speaker, and can you guys hear him? Say something else, Matt?
Something else?
Okay. Does that work?
I guess it's
We
going to
ca-
happen.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not great, but
There's an on and off switch on this thing, I'm afraid. to
No,
touch
you don't
it.
want to push that. There should be a remote that says sound bar. I can see two remotes on top of the black box.
maybe on top of the cabinet there are those.
Oh, wow. Yeah, soundbar, okay.
And then the power button.
All right. Which I just pressed.
Yeah, how's it working? Same, is it turned on yet?
I certainly don't hear
Are the TVs on?
it. They are.
Yeah, the sound bar should work once you hit power, and then try hitting power again.
It could be a battery issue. I'll get closer to it.
Yeah.
I don't see light coming on. There's
All
a
right.
manual.
Well, I think that, it'll probably start working halfway through without meaning to.
Okay.
It's definitely
All right.
better though. We can.
I'll try to,
Wait,
I'll try
one
to
of the
yell.
other, remotes up there, or you got the right one?
It's
Well,
soundbars.
well, if we can all hear Matt and there's only Greg and Janet and Fletcher here. Maybe they want to move up closer so that they can hear Matt.
We can hear.
You can hear Matt?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, his voice is.
okay. Otherwise, you can just move in.
And you'll let us know, Jacob, if he's
Yeah.
over there and we're missing him.
I'd be happy to, yeah.
Okay, so I guess we're
Yeah, we've
good
been-
enough shape technologically
No.
speaking, so we'll go ahead and
Minutes.
call this meeting to order. Call the roll. Jake Dillon,
Present.
Rosemary Papero,
Here.
Bill Chandler,
Here,
Joy Marino,
Here.
Steve Johnson,
Here,
Katie Schwab. We're all present. Okay, the next
6:06.
order of business is to approve the minutes. And so I would just like to mention that I have some suggested edits to the minutes that I've circulated. I know there hasn't been a lot of time to consider them, but just to put them forward for discussion. Would anyone like to talk about that?
I think we all are in agreement, particularly after the
Anything-
program that we just,
Mhm.
about
Right.
concise and more structured, short structured minutes.
I
So
got that starred in my book.
Yeah, minutes don't need to be a verbatim transcript of the meeting, but must include at a minimum, and then it's got the 6 points, so
Right.
Okay.
I
5 points.
think that these are closer to what Joy
Yeah.
originally did.
I mean, I make a
Motion.
motion that we accept the proposed
Okay,
A second. Oh, there.
right, Bill and Jake. Seconded, we'll adopt the minutes as amended. Good? Okay, terrific. Thank you. Okay. Then we have next on the agenda, public hearings, which we have none scheduled, so we can move past that. Next is a public presentation. Again, today we have none scheduled, so we can move past that. No actions are scheduled on the calendar, so we can move past that. And then we'll move on to a discussion of the bylaws. So just to introduce this topic, I know that, we had a pretty long conversation last month. We had a lot of issues about what had been circulated, about what needed to be included, what didn't. And what we have received from Matt and from our town attorney is another proposed set of bylaws. It's actually, as you can see and have seen, I'm sure, quite a bit simpler. And it doesn't include all the provisions of the code, which I know Rosemary pointed out last time made the last draft really very complicated and long. And I think that this probably works much better for our purposes. I don't know if everyone's had a chance to review all of the proposals in here, but I'd just like to open the floor for discussion of the substance of these proposed bylaws.
Well, I had a question on page 2 of
Okay.
4. Says the chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer shall be elected by the board of directors and must be, oh, no, that's just the chair and the vice chair. must
Which
be
was done,
selected
right.
From the board of directors. So
Mhm.
I was having a conversation with Eric Gregory and he did not feel that having Matt as our treasurer was an issue. So if we're all comfortable with that, to stay with that.
Yeah, I think it says actually in the code, the Virginia code, which I have someplace here, that the treasurer and the secretary do not have to be members of the authority. They can be appointed, just to fulfill that particular role. But they don't have any voting and they're just not members of the authority. So the code actually provides for that. So I think that's fine.
Okay.
And another thing he shared was he would, and I think that was in his notes here, is that he would continue. Yes, as
Right.
legal representation.
Yep. So I think that's something that we should discuss, but that's not really necessarily a bylaws issue, but that's something else we should discuss in terms of just the issue of operating capital and other resources. So
Absolutely.
let's set that
Yeah.
aside for a moment. And just focus.
I was fine with the bylaws.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
I had just a couple questions. One is I know we've talked, I think, some of us had been discussing it. When we were approached to serve on this board, we talked about quarterly meetings. I think the bylaws propose bi-monthly meetings, but with really wide flexibility to meet more regularly if we need to. I'm comfortable with that, but I wanted to raise it because I know it's come up.
It came up actually, and I brought it up again because Matt had given out a schedule of meetings for the different, the town council, planning committee, and for the EDA. And he had us meeting quarterly. And I was, and the town council passed that. And I said that and when they came to public comment, I said that I was uncomfortable with it only because there's so much on our plate right now. We still have to figure out these operational and administrative functions. Plus, we have 2 deals. I mean, I don't know what else to call them. I'm from New York. We call them deals. We have 2 deals sitting on the table. So the one deal is the Lilliston building, and the other deal, of course, is
That's the deals.
the other building. So where there's an application in. So I don't know that at this point we can meet just quarterly. I don't think we can. I think there's too much going on. What the town council said was that even though they voted, to approve that schedule, that we could meet as often as we feel is necessary. So I think that for the moment, I'm comfortable with really meeting monthly, notwithstanding that it says in here
Okay.
that we have to meet quarterly.
I think, doesn't this say bi-monthly though?
Or bi-monthly.
Right,
Yeah.
Let's say
right.
bi-monthly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that makes sense. I mean, obviously we need to front load a little bit,
Right.
since we're brand new and we're, still working out our mechanisms. So.
Okay.
I personally
Okay.
don't have a problem with that, though when I was asked to serve on the board, it was quoted to me as a quarterly.
Right.
And I go away in the wintertime and I'll be gone for 3 months.
Okay.
And I do not have access to Zoom meetings
Or
and
remote
that.
participation.
So,
Do you have an iPhone?
uh,
Do you have an iPhone?
I,
iPhone?
no,
Oh.
no.
How much for that?
You really go away. That's good.
Yeah.
Great.
And
So-
postcards.
Great.
I mean, quarterly, I would miss, I may or may not miss a meeting. Bi-monthly, I'd miss one.
Right.
Monthly, I'd be in trouble.
Right. Okay.
If Matt could talk, can you hear it now? Can you talk back, Matt? That he couldn't hear.
Yeah, I'm here. I can talk back. You guys are having a good conversation. I mean, the way that I look at it is, if we set it up quarterly and then, like Jake said, we have to front load it a little bit to get some of the procedures out, then we do that. But the deals on the table, are the work that's going to be required is going to be very minimal. So I'm not exactly sure that meetings are going to be required more than quarterly. But that's up to you and the bylaws.
Well, the bylaws say bi-monthly, so that would be every other month. Those are the bylaws from Eric Gregory. I
Right,
think
but
I'd
he used
stick
it,
with that.
he used a template from another municipality. It also has the wrong day of the month that we meet in there. So
That's
I would go
easily
through and look at
changed.
some of the specifics in there to make sure they match what we're gonna do. I think that the guts of the bylaws are very well done.
Excuse me, Debbie, is there any way he's going to be able to be heard on the video?
Oh, he could be heard on video, because you're running it through the PC. That's not a problem.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it was
Okay.
just- He wanted me to get the sound bar. Go ahead, keep going. Like, it's saying that-
Well,
Okay, so do we need to record the bi-monthly piece or change it to quarterly, knowing that we're going to meet bi-monthly for the first?
Because we can call a special meeting if we need another meeting. It's very easy to do that.
But let me ask one other question, and I don't know the answer to this. If you telephone it, is that's still meeting
Mhm.
electronically?
Mhm.
I could do that.
Yeah.
That takes care of that problem.
Right. Right.
Which is good because we talked about that 20 or 25% requirement
Right.
earlier in the
Right.
training.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
I-
you can just call it.
I can definitely do that.
Okay.
That's,
We should
fine on that.
Yeah.
Okay,
And missing, even if it was bi-monthly, I mean, even missing a meeting at this stage, you know, what you're talking about is organizational types of things,
Right.
not anything of the actual concept of the board's
right,
duties as such.
right.
Yeah. So if you had one in February and another one in April, I'd miss February, I'd be here in April.
Good, okay. February sounds like it'll be more organizational at this point. Doesn't sound like vote on it.
Well, unless something happens with the Lilliston building.
Yeah, but it doesn't sound like that would be ready for contracting and,
I gotta say, I keep thinking tick, 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 tick,
Yeah.
tick.
yes,
You know?
understood.
Now, last night, council approved our meetings. So if we adjust those, then that would have to go back to council and be approved.
Excuse
No.
me, that raises a very interesting question. If we're really an independent
Yes.
authority, we have to
Mm.
take everything back to the council for their approval of everything that we're doing.
Yeah, well,
Right.
Eric Gregory said no. Eric Gregory said
Mhm.
the way that council controls, the degree to which council controls the EDA is by the appointment of who's ever on it.
Right. And money.
Money.
Yeah, of course.
Ultimate authority to spend, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, until the authority has its own money, assuming it will at some point in time.
So I can agree with that. If we set, we are to be autonomous
Right.
and set our own agenda. And so,
I'm pretty sure we have the authority to
Mhm.
set our own
Okay.
meetings and determine
Yeah.
our own schedule. It sounded to me like the council's vote was to post the meetings. Good big gesture. So I think we can set our own meetings if we need to.
I mean, in the absence of anything else, maybe we say bi-monthly, whatever Eric Gregory said here. And then if we need to meet with respect to any of the loans, we can have a special
We
meeting.
absolutely can. Right. It's very simple. You post
Yeah.
the notice.
Exactly.
Okay, we'll go with bi-monthly. Can have you phone in if we need you, so you don't hit the deadly omission and, okay, and we'll correct the day of the week in here, right? But otherwise, it sounds like,
Based on that is what I'm hearing what I'm hearing is that it's the general consensus that these bylaws are acceptable. Especially
Oh,
if we
yeah.
agree to, in lieu of the quarterly, we agree to accept the bi-monthly.
Mhm.
And so given that, you know, are we at a point to make a motion to accept these and vote these in as our bylaws?
we would have to have a motion to discuss them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
Yeah, my computer went on the fritz. I hate to be the stick in the mud
Oh, wait
here,
a
but
minute.
I haven't had a chance. Oh,
I make, gee, Jake, of all people, I made the copies. I have a printed
perfect.
out.
Thank you. I mean, I glanced at them, but then black screen.
oh dear.
Well, I'll
Here you
second
go.
your motion, Bill, that we adopt
There you
them.
go.
Thank you.
I think.
And then
you
we
want
can
a
have a
chance to
discussion.
look over them real quickly.
Well, as I said, I did have a chance, but it was right when they were emailed.
Maybe we should go over. it. Take a few minutes and do that.
Well, we could do that.
Yeah.
Don't have a lot on our agenda, so. We could do that. All right. I mean, they really are fairly straightforward. They don't,
They were,
Yeah.
they're a thing of beauty
They
compared to
are.
what they were.
Really.
The other ones, the first ones we got, I was like, it's like too much.
sites, the training we basically just had. Mentions to officers.
Oh, in that section one directors, did we appoint our terms for staggered 4-year terms?
We did
We
2 and
did
4
1,
terms.
2.
Section one
We did 2
officers?
and 4.
Oh.
And I guess we would have, when we fill the empty position, we'll have to have the county clerk back to
Where
give
that
the oath.
person in. Yep,
Or they can go over and visit his office.
That's
their
true.
office,
that's how I did
and
it.
get in,
Mhm,
Yeah.
as I did, well, before
Mhm.
we got sworn
mhm.
Hey, Steve, can you hear me, Steve?
Yes, go ahead, Matt.
Would you mind bending your microphone down a little bit more? I can't quite hear you.
Is that any better?
That is much better. Thank you very much.
No, it's not on. Green light. Got a green light?
I've got a green light. Can you hear me, Eddie?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, now I have a green light. Sorry about
There it
that.
is.
Well, we've certainly got our training tonight. Oh, here's this. Madam Chairperson.
Mhm.
Directors must file the statement of economic interest annually by July 31st. That's what I was showing you earlier.
Oh, okay.
20 pages.
Yeah,
I
that's,
wondered what that was.
That's
Oh.
why I Googled
She
it.
mentioned a form that
That-
you had to
yeah.
fill out.
We have to
Except
do
the
that? We have to fill that out?
well, I think what we need to do is to find out from Eric Gregory, since we're just forming now, what we have to do for this year. Or because we are formed in 2023, so we need to know what has to be done for 2023.
Well, I think what you'll find is that, the only thing I can tell you is from working on a Commonwealth Transportation Board, every
Yeah.
year, January 1st, you had to make a filing within 30 days. By
Uh-huh.
February 1st, you made a filing of your complete assets and liabilities. And it was exhaustive, but that's what you had to do.
So I'm assuming then that it's probably close to the same, which is going back to my original thing along, a couple of meetings ago, is that we need working capital from the town council so that we have to hire a separate, it'll probably be the same CPA as does the town's business, but we have to independently hire a CPA as well as an attorney. And that's another
For our books.
issue
and-
for our books and our
Right,
purposes.
Right, although I don't know that public resources available to help us do our own personal filings, right?
Our own personal.
These are
filings.
personal.
These are personal
Personal
financial filings that have to be
Right.
done by the individual.
So you have to do your own personal
Yeah, for the
filings.
privilege of this work.
Oh, yes. Yeah. You have to list every asset you own, every liability you own, how much money you have, where is it? It's,
Oh, wait till I
Yeah.
tell my accountant.
Right.
Well, you have to go to what I did was go to the accountant and just said, okay, need to have you put this
Mhm.
together. And pick Apple stock. If you own Apple stock and you have a lot of that stock, what'll happen is you'll find that you have Apple stock. They won't ask how many shares you have, but they'll categorize it. Do you own between 0 and 25,000, 25 and 100, 2 million to 5 million, 10 million to 25 million. So they do that for every single entity that you own. They'll pick you put the entity based on across a level that fits in one of their sections.
it's
It can
very,
be-
Does town council do that?
no,
So it's just for the authority?
we don't do that, do we, Fletcher? We don't have, never done anything like that.
Matt, do you have any comments about whether we're going to have to comply with that or not based on the town size?
I don't, but I'll learn it from Eric because this sounds like a bit onerous for a town of under 3,500.
I would think it is. Well, I would think we'd
Well, where
find a
does papers?
variance.
Maybe it says it at the beginning.
That he doesn't think.
Didn't think
But,
so.
but it might not be a question for Eric. It might be a question, I think it's more a question for the accountant. He's the one who would be doing the filing.
It's a legal requirement.
It's a
for
legal
service. It
requirement.
may or may not be a legal requirement. for
Yeah.
The
service,
accountant's going to
right.
do the groundwork, but we need a legal interpretation of what we have to
Right.
file.
But well,
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't say anything here at the beginning of it about exemptions for anything. Just says it's a requirement.
But when she was talking about the training and how we want to
Mhm.
file it with the town
Mhm.
clerk so that it doesn't become part of a public database, that sounded like we would need to do that.
Mhm.
Says we
Okay.
had to have it done before, on or before the first day of office. That's right
Huh.
there.
Well,
Oh.
let's find out. That is a question we definitely need to find out.
So that's an Eric Gregory question.
For sure. Okay. Disclosure.
My.
Okay.
Statement of economic interest.
So we passed the bylaws?
We're still in the discussion. We
Okay.
haven't called the question yet.
We're waiting for Jake.
I'm moving through it. It's
Oh, I
clean.
forgot you moving through. I'm sorry, Jake.
If you're waiting on me, I'm good.
You're good?
Yep.
All right.
Call the question?
Oh,
Secretary?
no, I still have some.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
I still
sorry,
have
sorry.
several.
Okay.
Page 2 of
Okay.
4. Vacancies.
Yep.
Now, by office, do they mean chair and vice chair?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mhm.
And section 6 under secretary.
Hmm?
I'm not comfortable disseminating agendas. I'm not
Okay,
even
let's
really
change that, right.
comfortable disseminating minutes at this point.
Right.
Let
'Cause that's
alone-
not how we've been
Yeah,
operating, right?
no.
Um,
I think it said somewhere in here with
it says it does envision a little bit different strategy here.
next page 3, agenda. The agenda will be prepared by the secretary in consultation
Yep,
with the chair.
yep.
Now that I can live with.
Okay,
Yeah. Can you?
sure.
Okay. We're just about to get to know each other a
Yeah,
little bit
right.
better.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then once you approve it, just shoot it to me and I'll get it posted online.
Okay.
So do we take out that section 6 or do we leave it in or
Yes, we can.
which?
You don't take it out, but why don't we just say, take out disseminate? We'll prepare the minutes, right?
The secretary with the chair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the next page.
It's a little repetitive, but
Yeah,
I don't see why not.
but we can just take out the disseminate under this. So the secretary will prepare the minutes, right?
Yeah, take out
Regular and
agendas.
special minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, meetings. And shall administer and manage all non-financial records and correspondence. I don't know.
Well, can we just take
Yeah,
out all
take that.
agendas? Is
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
okay.
Take out all agendas and then administer and manage all non-financial records and correspondence. Like, I don't think you signed up for that.
No, I did not.
Yes. So maybe we just take that out. So you signed up to do the minutes.
Well, isn't that what the minutes are?
Yeah. Well, there could be other kind of records that we keep. I mean, there will be, of course, there will be other records.
Yeah, I'm comfortable taking that out.
Okay. All right. So we'll just leave it at that and we'll work out the rest. Doesn't need to be in the bylaws, I think.
Read what 6 is amended.
So then it will say the secretary will prepare minutes of regular and special
Special
meetings.
meetings.
I have no trouble with disseminating either
That's
because
it.
I've been
Yeah.
doing that. We'll
Okay.
prepare and disseminate
Okay.
meetings
Yep. Okay.
of
and
regular
disseminate.
and special meetings, period.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So that is the role. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we're going to leave section 3 on the next page, prepared by the secretary in consultation with the chair.
Yep.
Okay. Section 5, voting. Votes by proxy are not permitted.
Right.
So you can have remote voting, like
She said we could, because I asked her.
Everyone
if-
voted,
if it-
but-
Vote
Yeah.
vote by proxy is when you say, my brother's coming in my place and he's
Right.
going to cast my
Right.
vote for me. So that's not.
Or
the same.
try to do it by email and say, here, I can't attend, but here's
Yeah.
my vote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's different. Do we
That's
always
all.
ask people to give their place of residence? Is that? not-
That's part of FOIA.
Oh, is it? Did
Yeah.
it say that?
Oh,
Okay.
are you talking about when they attend remote?
Public comment.
When
It's,
they
it's,
make public
it's,
comment?
it's a
Oh,
common
yeah.
practice.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we're meeting on the third Tuesday, right? Not Wednesday?
What page is that,
So
Katie?
the top of page 3? I think that's what we said.
Yes. At 6 o'clock?
Oh, right.
It's
6 or
third,
7? 6?
6.
Okay.
Third,
third Tuesday?
Thought that's what it was.
Says Wednesday, so we're changing
Yeah,
it?
we're changing it, right?
All right.
Okay.
At 6 o'clock. A little more civilized.
Okay, I thought the special meeting thing was fine, emergency fine.
It's
quorum.
page 3 of 4.
Okay,
So the only two changes in here are what we said for on page 2 under secretary,
Mhm.
the duties of.
Mhm.
And then on page 3, the meeting date
Yeah.
is Tuesday instead of Wednesday.
Yeah, at 6 instead
Yep.
of 5:30.
Right.
Oh, at 6, it's at 6.
Better for me if it's okay with everyone.
And other than that, everything else remains in place.
We're keeping it the same.
Okay.
Okay.
Are we at a point?
Yeah.
Steve, you want to resubmit with the changes?
I move we approve the minutes as presented with the 2 changes that we've noted.
The bylaws.
Bylaws. Excuse
A
me.
second?
Okay. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Very good. We have bylaws. Terrific.
That's
Thanks, everyone.
by roll call, doesn't it? Or doesn't
Should we do a roll call?
it? It says in here that I think we have to. All votes shall be by roll call.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, we
Thank
have to
you.
do it by roll call?
Right.
Okay.
Professional here. All right.
Where is that section? Maybe I read it wrong.
Right? Meeting.
All
Voting.
votes shall be by roll call.
Okay. Do we need
Page
that?
3.
That's actually, now that you pointed that out, do we need that?
For
Eh,
my
might be
purposes, yes,
good.
because I don't know
Yeah.
how the vote goes. And there's been times in council when listening to the video, you can't tell whether they say yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
They sort of fudge it a
Okay,
little.
really?
So,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Right.
So
All
a
right.
roll call's not a bad thing in my
We don't
opinion.
have 17 members sitting up here that we
Yeah.
have to go through. It's only 6.
6.
All right, so I'll call the roll. Mr. Johnson,
Aye.
Ms. Marino,
Aye.
Mr. Chandler,
Aye.
Fafaro.
Aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. It's approved. Okay,
Unanimous.
very good. All right. All right, now we have public comment. Any comments from the public?
I was not following you well enough, as you tailored the secretary responsibilities to Joy. Could you please read out what number 6, section 6 on page 2 now will be?
Sure. It says, now as amended, it says the secretary will prepare and disseminate the minutes of regular and special meetings.
So are you all going to designate someone to manage all the other records and be responsible for those in the correspondence?
Yes, we will.
Because it seems that that's something Eric's saying you need someone to do.
Right.
So
Good point.
Yeah.
What exactly would those be?
Well, at some point, we're going to have loan documents and we're going to have agreements soon.
But those are financial. This is all non-financial records and correspondence.
Well, it's going to be the records of the authority.
It's going to be the minutes is how I took it. All
Well-
non-financial records and correspondence. Correspondence quite encompassing.
It is. Remember when we talked about texts and quorums of more than 2 and all of that stuff? I think that's what this is referring to.
I guess my point is that if you've got something else coming that you've now not designated someone to be responsible for, what happens to it?
We need to speak to someone who handles records.
Mhm.
Would be Debbie.
Debbie handles records. And actually that Jeff Albrechtson, he did handled records for different corporations and nonprofits forever. I mean, that was
Okay.
basically his job.
Matt, are you still with us?
So maybe he could tell us how to set that up.
Yeah, I am. I mean, my impression was that we would have a dedicated fireproof cabinet where we put the paper records and a separate electronic storage for anything electronic. I mean, it would be kept separate, and it would make things a lot easier. That's for sure.
Do we need an officer to do that? That's the question, I guess, right?
I think that's a question for Eric Gregory.
Yeah,
We really haven't determined what that is.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
So,
So we have two choices, I guess. We could revisit the vote. We could leave it this as is and ask.
We can
Eric when
amend
we
it.
meet with
We
him,
could
or
amend
We could
it.
amend it to
I-
go back.
I would leave the vote, talk to Gregory, and then if we have to amend it, amend it.
Okay. Just remember what we said about amending the bylaws and the bylaws.
Yeah, it's in the bylaws. It's in the back.
Still in the public,
Yeah,
public comment section.
right. It's the last, it's page 404.
Amendments, there you go, right?
Yeah. So it's not
Okay,
difficult.
not the end
to
of the
do.
world. Okay, all right, good. This is good. Okay. So we will get a better understanding of what our non-financial records are. Okay. Is everyone comfortable with that?
aye.
Thank you. Okay. Any other comments? No? Okay, thank you. All right, Matt, you're up. Town managers report, please.
It's going to be very short and sweet. If you remember right, we sent the red line document, the performance agreement off to the state. Took them a few weeks, but they sent it back. And I sent it over to the developer's attorney, I don't know, maybe a week ago. And we haven't gotten it back yet. So we'll see. The changes that we had recommended and the changes that the developer requested seem to pass through the state with a couple of caveats. So hopefully the developer's attorney will find it acceptable and we can get this thing moving forward.
So Matt, does that mean that before you sent the red lines to the state, that both Eric Gregory and the developer's attorney had agreed on the terms?
Generally, yes, but they
But
weren't sure. if the
specifically,
state-
no?
No, I said generally, yes, but they weren't sure if the state was going to sign off on it because that performance agreement is technically a contract between the state and the developer.
So, but if it was agreed upon before you sent it up by Eric Gregory as the town's attorney and the developer's attorney or the developer, and the state now has its imprimatur on it, what would be the holdup?
May I suggest that we discuss this in a closed session? Just pursuant to our
Okay.
training, I actually can cite the section of the code
Okay.
that I think authorizes this. It's number 29 and 2.23711. Discussion of the award of a public contract involving the expenditure of public funds, including interviews of bidders or offerers, and discussion of the terms or scope of such contract, where discussion in an open session would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body. I think
Okay,
that's right on point for
Yeah,
this kind of
perfect.
discussion.
thank you, Katie.
Okay, good. So
So, but going back to that, I think we still need to discuss our communication with Eric Gregory, and I think that we need to have a certain amount of direct communication with him because I'm still unsure whether he can afford us legal representation under the mantle of the town, or if we have to be, it seems to me that we have to be a separate client of his, which means that we need some working capital. That's sort of a circle that keeps going around.
Can we hold that thought for
Yeah.
a minute and bring that up under board member comments and let
fine.
Matt finish his
Okay.
report? Okay. I think it's something we definitely need to discuss. Anything under new opportunities, Matt?
No.
Anything else you want to share in your report?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, excellent. So we can move to the next section on board member comments. And Rosemary, I think we should pursue this conversation about what we need as the EDA in terms of resources and consultants or legal counsel, what would help us be the independent, autonomous organization that we need to be in order to operate effectively. I think some of the board members have thoughts about this, so I'd like to just open the floor for that.
Have we quantified this thing? It seems like a fairly decent first step if we're proposing independent engagement of legal representation. What is the billing hour? And what is Eric Gregory's take on it? In terms of us being independent or under the mantle of the town?
I would think that Eric Gregory would have I mean, you're an attorney, so usually attorneys will have a discussion with you, a consultation, which is gratis, and tell you this is their billing, this is how it would lay out, or he would say, we can represent you under whatever the town's umbrella is, or he'll say, no, you need to have a separate relationship with me, and this would be the billing, and this is how we would communicate. I don't think it's pretty simple.
I can share this. This is public record because it's in the town budget. I was surprised when I saw it. We have budgeted 26,000, correct me if I'm wrong, Fletcher, for the attorney for the year. And we're 42% into the year and we've only used 6,000. So I was so surprised that that's all we've used.
Let me jump in on that one.
Okay.
They are behind on their billing.
Oh,
They bill us
That's a good secret.
$2,000 a month. That's why it's only 6,000. They're a couple months behind on their billing. Trust me, they're gonna bill us everything and we are gonna pay them everything.
Matt, while you're online, do you have an understanding of the existing contract with Lilliston and whether that is current in terms of payments? And at the same time, my thought is, we as this authority need some funds. They may be fairly limited. They may be more than that. But as I understand it, currently what is being paid back and probably is in the account, whether it's in the town account or the EDA account, is a combination of both interest and the principal on the loan of $1 million being paid back in 2.5% a month. Is there an account for those funds? And if you have an idea, what's the order of magnitude of money that currently is in that account?
Those are great questions. Let me take them one at a time. First, now that we have officers for the EDA, we're going to open the bank account as a separate entity. So that'll happen probably right after the first of the year. Secondly, the loan for Lilliston has not been activated yet. So there's no payments out, there's no payments in. So there's no activity to worry about.
All right.
The third part that I think I heard you say was what is the order of magnitude of dollars that that the town would have to appropriate to the EDA. I talked with Eric today and asked him if he would give us a budget for next year for the EDA and the town, and that'll give us an order of magnitude pretty quickly on what the legal costs would be. I'll talk with our CPA and find out what the additional bank account reconciliation would cost the town. And again, once I add those two figures together, the town council is going to have to go to a public hearing because that's not in the budget. So they would have to appropriate additional dollars to EDA. They'll have the backup for it. We'll have to have a public hearing for it. And then we can move forward from there. Did that answer all your questions?
One more, if I may,
Yep,
and
course.
that is, do we have an idea of what will be coming in on a monthly basis in payment of the principal and the interest that
Yeah, I
would be?
believe, and don't quote me on this one, I believe it's about $2,900.
Well, I'm just looking, rounded to 3,000, that builds up over a couple of months and gives enough money into an account to be able to be utilized by this organization with limited resources, but yet at the same time with limited real exposures, but we need to cover them both from an accounting standpoint and a legal standpoint.
Yeah, you would be able to use the interest dollars, but the principal repayments have to be reloaned to another business.
Okay. All I was looking at was there's a flow of cash at some point in time that's coming in that we may be able to utilize.
Yes,
And if we use it cautiously, we can make things happen.
agreed.
So I know that Eric has, proposed that he be made available as our attorney. And that, certainly that could be done as if we were to waive the conflict, right? It's a decision that should be made thoughtfully. And
Someone had mentioned another attorney, but I can't think of who the other attorney was that had considerable EDA experience, Virginia. I'm not sure who mentioned that.
There might be a couple of people we could talk to about that.
Yeah.
Do a little research on it.
I mean, the conflict would be if the town sued the EDA.
yeah,
And also, which leads me to something else. Matt, do you know if on the insurance, the D&O policy, the directors and officers legal liability, if the EDA is a co-insured or a named insured?
It's named because it falls under the umbrella, but I also had that sent off to Katie today, and she was going to send it off to Steve, I believe, so that you could take a look at the entire policy. So
Okay.
I had that sent to me today, and it was going to be forwarded to you soon.
Okay.
Yes, I had a very similar question, looking at the declaration sheet and getting a copy
Yeah.
of the policy. Be happy to take a look at it.
Did you
Yeah,
get it? Thank you, Steve.
I must have.
Okay. So anyway, it seems to me that would be problematic if at some point, and who knows when that is, and it will probably never happen, if the town sued the EDA or the EDA wanted to sue the town, then there would be conflict.
Yeah. Would, I mean, even in just, oh, sorry, microphone. Yeah, I'm not 100% comfortable with having one attorney looking at the agreements from both sides.
Yeah.
I appreciate Eric's a very good attorney and that it's very financially wise decision probably to do it that way. But in reflecting on it, I have some reservations about it. But I don't know what the landscape of other attorneys is. So just putting that out there for discussion. think about that.
Yeah, I looked at his firm because then I was thinking maybe there was another attorney in the firm, even though it's the same firm, so it's still the same conflict of
conflict, right.
interest. So
Right,
it didn't really matter.
right.
But the firm wasn't as large as I thought it was. It's a rather small firm,
Mhm.
actually. So I was thinking, maybe there's another firm
Mhm.
that, but somebody did mention a EDA attorney to me, and now I can't think of who it was.
Well, I think maybe we can develop a budget and ask, I think we need to petition the town for some resources just to make sure that we're sufficiently positioned to make wise decisions, right? With the expertise that we need. And it will protect everyone going down, going forward, right? We'll review documents
Mhm.
thoughtfully and make good decisions, and they'll be legally sufficient, and we just need a little bit of resources to make sure that
Right.
that's done.
And I think we still
Appropriately.
have a laundry list of questions, that we could send to an attorney and he could or she could just go through them and say,
Right.
ding, 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 ding.
Right, right.
And you will send those out to Mr. Gregory at this point. That's who we will utilize to. And then it doesn't constitute a meeting if, this is what I understand, Matt, and you can weigh in here. It doesn't constitute a meeting if we don't respond. Is that correct?
It doesn't constitute a meeting among whom?
The communication with the attorney. That's
No.
always been a caution.
Yeah, well, the caution is the reply all and the continued conversation within a
Right.
reply all. The one thing Eric told me was that they treat it as a meeting conservatively, but technically it needs to be an instantaneous response in order to be a meeting. So
Right.
it would be more of in a chat room or a something like that. So I would advise against reply alls and replying to a reply all. That's really the key. Getting information from Eric and then sending it out to everybody is just proper. Getting it back from Eric and then banging it back and forth, that's where the meeting comes in.
Okay. Right. But all that's subject to disclosure should someone ask anyway.
Could I just,
Speak up.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
could I just ask something going back a little bit? Matt, has Eric been the negotiator with the Lilliston Buildings attorney since the beginning of the process, or?
He's
so is he-
representing the town, so on contracts that are related to the town, yes, he's going through all of our contracts. The contracts that
he's-
are between the developer and the state, we've been an intermediary because we're the applicant.
Uh-huh.
But that's the extent. So we're not editing anything on the performance agreement that doesn't directly relate to us. That's between the state and the developer.
Okay, so the state and the developer are going over the performance agreement together. And Eric Gregory is Eric Gregory is fully familiar with that, where
Yes.
they are on that process.
Yeah, and then the other three contracts that are between the state, the town, and the developer, Eric is the one doing all of the crafting there.
Okay, and he's worked on that since the inception.
Yeah, they're ready to go. We're just waiting for that performance agreement.
Okay, so it's a little complicated, of course.
Right. Public funding always is.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Okay. That's super helpful. Okay.
So do we need to make a motion as to requesting that the town fund the EDA so that it can get legal representation and get,
I guess that's right. Do we write a letter or make a request? How does that work, Joy?
Put it on the agenda.
Put it on the agenda?
Right, Fletcher?
I'm sorry, I don't. You need to make a request, put it on the agenda. Yeah.
Okay.
Put it on the agenda.
Okay.
so I make a motion that the EDA request working capital, establishment of a working capital fund of, $25,000,
Okay, sweet.
the town.
You don't have to be out of work.
There's second?
You look like a poster.
And that's a loan,
Okay.
because it is a loan. It's not, it's not.
I'm wearing two hats here and
How did you come up
I
with
know,
that?
Let's put, if
Just
you want, we
based on
can
the
put a motion on the table for
24,000
discussion.
pounds
Yeah,
using?
No, the $25,000, I
But-
came up with that because I think that having, first of
Wait,
all,
wait,
this.
wait, let's have it, sorry.
Yeah.
Let's have it a second. If
Okay.
then we'll discuss the motion. Second, anyone? Seconding the motion?
I'll second it.
Okay,
That doesn't necessarily mean it'll
that's okay.
pass, but
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, so now let's.
Now we can
discuss
discuss it.
Okay.
Okay, so I came up with that number because I'm thinking if we need to retain an attorney and or talk to Eric Gregory, whatever, and we're billed separately, we need to know that there's X number of dollars there. And it doesn't seem to me that it's an onerous amount. I mean, it is a loan, so it will be paid back, assuming that these other loans come through. I just think it's reasonable. I mean, I don't know, maybe his fees are like really, really low and it's $5,000.
6,000 a month for town business, so would it vary much?
Yeah, I have a feeling
Okay.
that's more of a New York budget, I think.
Yeah, well, I'm used to New York lawyers.
Can we restate the motion
Okay,
so that I can get it on record?
oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think the motion was to a proposal to request that the town as working capital for OEDA.
As a loan.
It would be paid back over time
Okay.
to support our operating.
And you made the
expenses.
motion and I seconded it.
Right.
The point of hiring an attorney is to get collaboration on whether there is any conflict of interest with us using the same attorney as the town. Is that, or are we looking, or is it the general consensus that we need a separate attorney from the get-go?
I think this was just to have resources to hire an attorney, and we need further discussion as to whether we would hire the town's attorney or a different attorney. This was just to make sure we could hire an attorney. So an accountant to keep track of our, right?
Yes, the state requires us to have a filing every year, besides this other horrible filing
Right.
that I
My
just heard
sense is
about.
that this might be too much, too high of a number.
Watching your head.
I would just like to see some analysis.
Coming on here.
Um,
They're already very, I'm
Would
sorry.
it be, you're familiar with the town and the workings of the town on a scenario such as this. If this was put on the agenda as a request by this group, would the town totally in normal situations, would they just say flat out no? Or would they say that's reasonable, but 5,000 or 10,000 would be a reasonable number? And would they come back to us with a number, or would normally speaking, they just shut it down?
Well, we have many people who request fire department, Main Street, so on. And they usually come and present to council and then we either say yes or no, put in the budget. I will share this. Council's very nervous about this and I'm not, but they are. And for us to put on the agenda that we're requesting 25,000, I think they're just going to go.
Mm. Public record too. I mean, if I was an attorney on the lookout, I'd be like, some deep pockets. I can leverage this.
Yeah. So I think we're going to have to proceed here with. Is this something we could ask
Do we
Eric
disclose
Gregory?
an amount?
I mean, it sounds to me like it just maybe is the number that's causing the agita, right? I mean,
Well, the number can change.
yeah, right. I think,
If we can justify what we're going to use it for,
Right.
what are we going to do with this working
Right.
capital? Then I think there would be
I-
or amenable.
There are still a lot of legal issues that we don't know the answer to. That
Okay.
I think if we met with 1, 2, or 3 attorneys, whatever it is, to interview them, and they could see these are our concerns, da, 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 da. And we would be getting an education and a good basis for making our decisions. I mean, we need to make considered decisions. We just can't be pulling information out of the air. And also the state requires us to have an audited filing, tax filing annually. So that's not free either. And the state also says we have to be an independent authority. Now, the attorney's going to tell us, to what extent do we have to be independent? Can we fold some of this into the town? Or do we have to have a separate attorney, even if it's the same one that represents the town? And do we have to have a separate, accountant, even if it's the same one that represents the town? We don't know the answers to those questions. And we're not going to know them until we sit down with an attorney, Zoom, conference call, whatever, and go through the list.
Didn't Eric answer that question, though?
Go ahead, Matt. What?
Yeah.
I said, didn't
So this
Eric
is
already answer that
unlike-
question?
Sorry, what, Matt?
I said, didn't Eric already answer that question by saying, yes, you need a separate attorney? Yes, we can,
No.
his firm can serve both organizations. You just simply have to waive conflict. The answer was given.
He said, I can serve as the lawyer for the OEDA. We do that for a number of our locality clients. The ODEA is a separate legal entity with its own statutory authority, but the way that the town council holds oversight authority is its authority to appoint members and to grant or withhold funds. He never said anything about.
Yeah, it
Separate.
was a little ambiguous, Matt.
Letter, though.
Well, I don't think that it is. He's saying that he can serve as the attorney if we waive
We didn't get anything today.
conflict. He's saying that you need a separate set of books that's audited, which we all know. So I guess what I'm cautious about is taking money from these loans, the interest on these loans, and using it to pay back exorbitant legal fees that we don't necessarily need, because we're making this a little bit more complicated than it needs to be.
I don't think we're talking about exorbitant legal fees here.
No, we definitely
Well,
don't want to do.
Yeah.
exorbitant
Yeah, I was going to say
No,
20
definitely not.
25,000 is more than the town pays.
Right.
So Matt, it's a number. We make the number smaller.
But you're basing it on no information. So I would say that let me shop it and find out how much it would really cost.
That would be really helpful.
Okay.
But
And
is cost the issue, or is it having the same attorney for EDA and the town the issue?
yeah, we're also, if he's going to bill us separately, and he has to apparently, whether we use Eric Gregory or somebody else, maybe we'll get somebody else whose numbers are lower than Eric's. I don't know. Maybe we'll get someone with more experience than Eric. It could be anything. Maybe it'll end up being Eric. But I don't think it has to be Eric.
Right. I think we should be thoughtful about that. The conflict issue is a real one. It's a small
Yeah.
town,
Yeah.
there's a lot of reason to be very cautious.
But
about that.
let's find out
Right.
a little bit more about cost before we
Yep.
throw a number at the town
Yep.
council that's going to freeze them.
Well,
Thank you.
so instead of
Yeah, we don't want to,
25,000,
right.
what if I amend it to 5,000? So I make a motion that the EDA request a loan, a working capital fund loan from the town council of $5,000 so that we can confer with, at least 2 attorneys and make a decision as to who we want to retain as legal counsel.
Right.
And we can always go to them with our hands out. We don't have any money coming in for the accountant later on. But I don't even think, we'll spend
And
Five
say
thousand
that.
dollars.
Comfortable with that? Okay,
Yeah.
so we have an amended motion. So we have Rosemary's motion and Joy has seconded it. Amended now to be a $5,000 request to the town council to provide some working
I
capital.
feel better about it, but I still think we need to give it due diligence and
Yeah.
shop some attorneys and figure out exactly
Yes.
what it
I
entails.
think that's right. And I think the town council will receive it much better if we have given this, a little more thought and fleshed
And the
out.
two
in the
things can
letter,
happen in
right?
parallel. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So why don't we we can work on it together. I think there's a way to do this without violating any meeting laws, on how to present this in the most appropriate light so that our intentions are clear and it doesn't make anyone uncomfortable on the council. That makes sense?
Makes sense to me.
Okay,
I think if we're just very clear about what we need it for and that,
Right.
Not just ask for.
right, right. So it's consistent
Yeah.
with the purposes of the EDA that was created by the town council, right? To accomplish a specific objective. That's all we want to do here. Okay. All right. Any further discussion? All right, call question. Mr. Johnson,
Aye.
Ms. Marino,
Aye.
Chandler.
Aye.
Mr. Dillon.
Aye.
All right, approved. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
What exactly was approved here?
This,
That,
that we will prepare a request to
Okay.
submit to the town council to request $5,000 in operating capital. to
Prepare a
support Our
request.
work.
great, thank you.
Okay, great. Good, okay. Any other comments?
I do have a comment. So there
Okay.
are two, we need support from two separate entities, and one is legal representation, and that's TBD. But we definitely need support from a CPA. Did we determine whether or not that has to be a separate CPA? Can it be the same CPA working both sets of books?
I think that the attorney can tell us that,
Okay.
I think.
And we want to shop that too. I have no idea what they're charging.
Okay, anything, all right, anything else?
Now, Matt, I'm sorry to keep going back to it, but do we have any time frame on the state, how long they'll take to get back to the Williston people?
They've already gotten back to the Williston people last week, so I'm hoping that, after the holidays, shortly after the holidays, that we'll get this thing, a decision made for one. And then, we should be able to move forward after that.
So should we have, it seems to me that one of the things that we should do, I guess, right after the holidays, just upon us, is to have a initial meeting with Eric Gregory. So we can, find out what exactly is going on with the Williston project so that we know. I mean, I think that's critical. And if there's a holdup, what, if anything, can we do to propel that forward? Because certainly the town is the loser if that project doesn't, if
Right,
that deal doesn't work.
I think,
I agree.
Yeah.
And the other thing is maybe, he can go through some of our other questions that we have.
okay, so I think we can adjourn, and maybe go into closed session for a few minutes. Maybe Matt can give us a little more of an update on some of the more confidential matters, and then we'll have a better direction for next.
Okay,
I don't know how we take him into closed session.
How do we do
maybe
that?
we can just put him on a speakerphone,
Yeah,
I think we can figure it out, hopefully.
on Jake's speakerphone.
sure. I'll dial them.
Okay,
Well, we're not really in closed session if there's people sitting.
we can
No,
go.
we can
back
go
there.
inside.
Oh, and you want to take him back there?
Or we can call him.
Call him.
Put him
Good.
on. Okay. All right, we have a motion to adjourn.
You
Is
can't
that-
do a
oh,
motion
that's
to
what after
adjourn.
closed
You have
session? Oh, I
to,
beg your pardon. Okay.
yep, you have to
right.
get a motion citing the reason that you're going into closed session.
Yeah.
Pursuant
to code.
Oh, all right then. So pursuant to code, which I cited before, but now I have to find it again. Hold on.
Here it is, page 14.
Page 51 is where she said
Yeah,
it started all.
thank you for remembering that. All right.
House.
You have the stuff.
I do. No years though.
54.
By the way, thanks for the bread.
And it is. what are you-
Well, on page 14, it will say, public safety administrative.
Here, it's 2.2-3711,
Supposed to be having it yet. It's-
and we are,
Well, I had
act-
last year,
Wait a
using-
minute, hang on, I can't
sitting
hear.
on our shelf right now.
oh,
Sorry.
got it? Okay.
No, tell me the code again. This is
Section 2.2-3711, number 29. Discussion of the award of a public contract. You don't have to write all this down.
What page are you on?
54,
Okay.
number 29.
Got it.
Okay. All right. So why don't we, I guess we have a motion to
To
do
go into closed
closed
session.
session pursuant to that section. Okay, so motion to do that. Rosemary, second? Do we need a second?
Yeah.
Steve? All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
I'm gonna take everyone's name for the roll call. Okay. All right, let's go.
All right.
All right,
And I'm
thank
gonna-
you.
I'm gonna leave the Zoom meeting, but Jake, you're gonna call me?
Yeah, Jake is inside. He's going. to
Thanks,
call me.
Matt.
Thank you.
All right. I'll talk to you in a
Okay.
second.
Merry Christmas.
And then Katie, when we. come back in.
Yep,
Have you just temporarily adjourned to have a closed session? You're coming back out?
we'll come out, but I think we'll just adjourn the meeting after that.
You have board comments, so I didn't know whether we should.
Oh, those were the board comments. I didn't think we had anything after
All
that.
right.
Okay,
Just want to be clear.
okay, thank you.
Merry Christmas.
And then
Merry
when we
Christmas.
Back out, we have to see, this should be here on Fletcher's desk.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
What did you?
The
They all pull out.
the procedures we have to follow to come out of closed session, but I can wing it.
Okay, all right, good.
You just have to say that nothing was discussed except this.
Oh, we do. Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Excuse me, Katie.
Yes.
I don't know if I can give it to you. Question, do we need that? It is NDA. It's the sign and holder of the deed. Okay, I think. So
Okay.
That's
That's
something.
my interpretation.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Right. No, the bylaws say the chair, that we sign it. Yeah,
That's what I thought.
yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
And
Yep.
I just wanted to
It's here.
understand that.
Yeah,
Here.
Yeah.
yeah.
Fletcher didn't even get that. And I'm like, no.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why I just.
Yeah. No, that's right. Yeah,
Well done. I
thank
thought
you. Getting there.
Sounded like you felt a little more solid.
Yeah, we're getting there.
I think we are.
Right.
Thank you for your help.
Anything we can do. Todd to Carver.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm.
Can I make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Joy says we first need to just
First, we need to
affirm.
verify that the only
Okay.
thing we discussed in the closed section was pursuant to code, blah, 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 blah. And we vote on that.
Right?
So
Well, I concur with that, so I'm a yay.
me too.
All right, would you like to make a motion that we
I make
conduct
a
a
motion
closed
that-
session in
that we-
accordance with our motion to abide by the provisions of the code?
That sounds good to me.
Okay, all right,
Aye.
Moved.
okay.
I'll even second it.
All right, so
Yes.
moved by Mr. Johnson, seconded by Ms. Marino. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? All right, now we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
There is a form we can use that should be right there. We'll get one.
okay.
Have a great Christmas holiday, everybody.
Too. Merry everything. And a happy always. Oh.
Yes.
That's a very nice photo.
Ah.
Yeah, right?
Socks.
Tassels. When she was.
Sometimes I need to wear them down.
You can wear that on the
But all I can tell you is
form.
Does anyone know how to
and
walk?
it's warm.
Yeah.
Shut off the lights?
Sure.
Yes.
And the
What's the process for?
Debbie's coming back. I'm to text
Debbie's
her,
coming
thank
back?
you.
Oh.
I'm to text her and tell her we're adjourning.
Great.
She went to a friend's right in the neighborhood. I offered to do it, but I'm glad she said.
I'd be glad to tell Mrs. Dillon about pizza and dinners, honest, frankly. I go for round two, so.
Well, because she was cooking, you're probably gonna have to eat it too.
Yeah.
You got it. Yeah.
Thank you, Jake, for reminding me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Good night, Steve. We're adjourned.
Debbie, I'll wait with you.
Okay. Good job, Katie.
Okay,
It's-
thank you, yeah.
Hey,
for helping me.
We're all learning, you know?
I think we're getting it though. We're like,
Yeah.
we're coming together as a group, which is
Yeah.
really good. It'll be
Yes, it
really-
is. I think that the first group dynamic you have to build is trust.
Yeah, exactly.
And once we have that, then we can do
Right,
marvelous
right,
things.
right.
Yeah.
We can, at least I can know her. I'll make problems with each other.
I'm going to run the rest.
Am I saying your last name right?
I
Is
don't
it
care.
Caparo or is it
It's
Caparo
Caparo,
or-
it's my ex-husband's last.
Oh, I have the same problem. I know,
I
same
could-
thing.
I could, whatever people, however they want to say it. But
How do
actually,
you say it?
it's Paparo.
Caparo, damn, I'm sorry, I got it
But
wrong.
he
Okay,
was-
I'll get it right.
That's the way that they pronounce it in Italy. That's the Italians. He was Italian.
What part of Italy?
He was from, Calabria.
Oh, cool,
Yeah.
cool. I've never been to that part. I love Italy. It's so fun to visit there.
Well, the second one was from Italy too. It's like a disease.
There are worse diseases, I think.
It became a weakness with me.
Italy is such a beautiful place.
It is. Great.
Wow.
What are you doing for the holidays? You here?
My boys are coming. So yeah, I have two sons. One's 30. He's coming Thursday. We'll pick him up in Norfolk and
And where
then
does he live?
New York.
Oh,
Yeah, he
really?
lives in Brooklyn and
Really?
we
We're in
live-
Brooklyn.
he lives in Crown Heights.
Uh-huh.
So, and we lived in Prospect Heights for the longest time. And then, Ethan is coming up from Miami.
Uh-huh.
He's moving. He doesn't like Miami, so he's gonna actually live with me in the winter, so that'll be fun.
So is he going to be going back to Miami?
No, he's leaving Miami for good.
And where is he going?
I think he's gonna end up in New York, but, so he's traveling.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, leaving on the 27th.
Really nice.
With a couple friends, they're going to like Thailand and Vietnam and.
Oh,
it'll
that's
be
great.
really-
That's really
He's
great.
27.
I've been to Thailand a few times, but I've never been to Vietnam.
Same, and, so anyway, and then he'll come back and he's gonna stay with me, I think for like February, March, which would be really nice, because I'm a little nervous about being here in February, March, being a little quiet.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
But you know, I go back and forth. So I go up usually like every 5 weeks.
Oh, yeah?
I'll go up there for 4 or 5 days. and come
Yeah.
back down again.
Yeah,
Sometimes I stay a little bit longer, but mostly just,
really, yeah. Do you drive up?
Yeah,
Yeah.
300 miles exactly.
It's not that bad.
No.
Exactly.
I get
here.
Yeah, I get
We've done
into
it
like,
so
you
many
know,
times.
Right. I make phone calls, whatever, I talk to
Yeah.
friends.
yeah. Listen to music.
Yeah, it's fine.
Books on
I
tape.
raised my daughter in the city. She went to college out in Ohio.
Oh, yeah?
and She ended up in Boston for
Okay.
some years. But she just bought a house in Philly.
Oh, nice, yeah. My firm's headquarters there, so I've been to Philly a bunch of times. Super
And I'm
nice.
like, you know what, actually, she really does.
There she is. I almost
Yeah,
forgot.
yeah.
Oh,
Jake
I'm
said
so
something about
sorry.
Eliza West.
It took so long.
Oh, you're, I was just right next door.
Oh,
So is there anything we can do to help you?
Nope.
You're all good?
Right here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have to find themselves. Hold on.
And he likes New York, he doesn't wanna leave, but Ethan's been in Richmond, and then he was in Washington, and then he went to Miami. And now he doesn't like Miami, so he'll either go back to DC or he'll go to New York, not sure which.
I grew up on Eastern Long Island. I'm not sure.